Hello and welcome to another edition of the psychology. What's it called? The psychology of marriage success.
Yeah.
The psychology of marriage success. This is season 1, episode 4, and we're talking about, I don't know why it's one of my favorite subjects, but it has become one of my favorite subjects, emotional affairs, because I feel a lot of people need to know about this.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding about emotional affairs, so let's get into it. My name is Adaeze Chiwoko from Marriage for Real, and I'm here with my colleague in the marriage sphere.
Victor Onochie from Genius Metaphor.
Awesome. All right, Victor, you were saying to me before that you're kind of like this whole emotional affair thing.
Yeah.
You want to know all about it because you see me talk about it on social media, and you're like, you know, let me learn a little something from her.
Yeah. School me.
School
me.
Happily.
So what's an emotional affair?
Well, I think it's kind of written on the tin.
Okay.
It's an affair. Oh, the coffee. Oh my God, we're actually going to start this without having coffee. As usual, this episode is in partnership with our absolute fave, Zuma Coffee, and it almost feels like we can't actually start without it. We have our number one barrister, Wisdom.
Yep.
And Wisdom is really dressed for the part today.
Wisdom, what's this today?
That's chocolate latte.
Aha, I like this.
And
I like the way it looks.
Exactly.
But then, I know, let me taste.
Wisdom.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Very good.
I got so British then. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Should I get Nigerian?
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom, this one makes sense.
And the problem is, I feel like I'm just going to go and finish it instead of savoring it.
Okay.
All right, where were we?
Coffee affair, emotional affair.
Emotional affairs with coffee.
Yeah.
So an emotional affair is an affair that is really developed and built on and gets its energy from an emotional connection between two people. There may not have been any physical interaction. In fact, they may not have ever physically met each other. They may not have physically touched, but there is definitely a connection between them that has been built through communication, through connecting, through flirting. They typically happen with friends.
Okay.
These male-female friendships.
Okay. So do you think that's wrong, male friends?
No, I don't think that there's wrong, but I think that there's boundaries that can easily be crossed because a friendship is an emotional connection.
Okay.
So when there isn't a boundary with the emotional connection, that friendship can easily turn into an emotional affair very easily. Work colleagues, again, that interaction every day, achieving things together, working on things together, setting goals together.
Going on projects
together, spending a lot of time develops this deep connection that can turn into an emotional affair.
Okay.
Right? And then just connecting with people on social media, sliding someone's DMs, you guys start talking, and now you're sharing your dreams, you're sharing your inner thoughts, you're sharing your emotions. Now you're talking about things that happens in your marriage, and they're like, yeah, that happens in mine. Now you guys are coming to each other when you've had an argument with your partner, you're coming to this person, and they're the shoulder that you cry on. We're walking into an emotional affair.
Okay.
We're heading into it. And then when it actually becomes an affair is, I say the first time you delete the message, the first time you hide to take the phone call, right? The first time you are in a physical environment with this person and it feels uncomfortable and you wouldn't want anybody else to hear this conversation that you're having, you've stepped in. You've overcrossed that boundary. You're heading in, or you're definitely in an emotional affair. for sure.
Wow.
Everyone's scared all of a sudden. Everyone's checking their friendships. Right?
Okay. Yeah. So, what impact does it have in the marriage relationship?
Here's the crazy thing about it. It has exactly the same impact as a physical affair. Exactly the same impact. Absolutely. It does. Because basically what an affair is taking anything sacred that is supposed to be for the marriage and marriage only and giving it to someone else. That's an affair, right? That's the betrayal.
Yeah, that's the cheating.
Right. So this level of connection, this level of intimacy, these words, this sharing of hearts, this flirting, these sexual innuendos, this sexual tension that is supposed to be sacred within this union, you've taken it and now you're building that with somebody else. That's an affair. That's cheating. And so you imagine being the person on the other side of that, finding the messages that is of the I love yous. I can't wait to be with you. You're the only one that I think about. That's going to impact you in the same way as finding out that they've been sleeping with them. It's the same thing. In fact, some people feel that, okay, I can handle sex as sex, but to find out that you had this deep emotional connection with somebody is devastating.
Yeah, that's why sometimes they'll ask the question, do you love him? Do you love her?
Right, because it's almost as if, and I'm not sort of diminishing or attributing weight to which one is worse, because I do believe that they're both the same. But it's almost as if we can get our heads around meeting a sexual need, right? But then when that is coupled with, or when it's about actually your heart, your emotions were given to somebody else, that can often be a little bit harder to get over.
Is this from the female perspective or from the male perspective? Because I think from the male perspective, it's in as much as it's a big deal, but I also feel like sex is a huge one.
Right.
It's a huge one. It's a deal breaker. Because I'd say your woman as a man is like it's like that personal treasure you have. You know, that personal treasure you have. And the thought of somebody engaging with this treasure physically, obviously in the physically, I mean, it's really a deep thing. It's a devastating thought.
Yeah.
Devastating thought.
Yeah.
And I get this emotional thing, having this situation can actually be very, very painful, because it's something you would want, but then this person is actually doing it with somebody else.
I mean, you just have to imagine it. You just have to imagine the thought of this person who you love, who you share all your thoughts and dreams with and all of that, and finding those messages with, I can't wait to get out of this marriage and be with you.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be devastating. So for men, to be honest, there isn't a worse. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I get.
There isn't a worse. Do you know what I mean? Like an affair is an affair. It's going to devastate you. It's going to devastate your marriage. It's going to devastate your relationship, and it's going to take a lot of work to get over. Either way.
Okay, so how do people get into this thing? Okay, like you said, obviously, friendship, work, and all those kind of things.
Well, obviously we have friends with people of the opposite sex. That is normal. That is healthy. Obviously, we're going to work with people, people, of the opposite sex. That's normal. That's healthy. Sliding in people's DMs and having whole conversations, maybe not so normal and healthy, but the other ones are very normal and healthy. Okay. But what it is when those boundaries cross. So, somebody being married will have to have a spoken and a relationship and a personal boundary of, well, maybe we're not going to sit up all night and talk. Maybe I'm not going to, when I've had a bad time in my marriage, I'm not going to come and share it with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe we're not going to plan business meetings late at night. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's always considering placing the marriage, your marriage, right at that forefront, you know? Here's the thing. Relationships are built with spending time. And this is why I'm always saying to couples, you have to be intentional about spending time with your partner. Because when you think about it, let's use your work colleague. You're working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? Potentially sat next to, communicating with, collaborating with, planning with, working, joking with somebody for 8 hours of the day. You said a quick 1 minute good morning to your wife in the morning before you went, or to your husband.
Yeah.
And then when you came home, you didn't want to say anything because you're tired. I'm tired. Everybody leave me alone. And then the hour after that, you eat. And then the hour after that, you're on social media, you're watching telly, you go to bed. You do that every day, right? If we're lucky, we see you on the weekend. So you've spent majority of your life with this other person. Who are you going to build the best relationship with?
Just with that person.
With the other person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People do this with their partners, with their children, right? I'm working. Or their friend, right? They finish work. What are you doing? Oh, I'm out with the girls. I'm out with the boys Monday. I'm not out with them, but I'm going to sit for a good hour plus talking, right? Your partner's there. You've barely, apart from, hey, how are you? Fine. The children? Yeah, great. And then you've left. Now you're on the phone. Forget the phone. You're on social media with somebody, talking messages, messaging, building connection, right? The person in the house, you've had a 3-minute conversation in total all day, every day. On top of that, we give the best of ourselves. So think of it, in the morning, just up, rush out. The best of ourselves we give to the people at work. I'm going to be gracious. I'm going to be patient with people. I'm going to be tolerable. I'm going to be fun. I'm going to be open because I want the people in work to like me. I'm going to look my best. I'm going to bring my best foot forward. Then you leave work and the person at home gets the worst version of you. I'm tired. I'm fed up. I've been working. I'm frustrated. They get that version of you every day. So then you go to work. So then because the person at home gets the worst version of you, their energy towards you isn't so great anymore. But when you go to work, the person, your colleague that you sit next to all the day gets this fun. So she or he's responding nicely to you all the time. So now in your head, you're like, at home, you don't even respect me. You don't like me. We don't have fun. When I'm at work, this girl or this guy laughs at my joke. They talk with me. We have a good time. The energy is nice with them. I'm falling in love here.
Wow. So I think one has to really be deliberate about, keeping the lines. Because, the grass is not always green on the other side. This kind of thing happens, and probably a guy will probably feel, oh, because it's happening this way, let me leave my wife, and then the whole thing switches.
The whole thing switches because people don't understand the psychology of the human mind. And I call it the newness. We fall for the newness.
The newness, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Let's use the mobile phones. I always give this.
Yeah. And I like new things.
There was nothing wrong with your iPhone 11 at all. But the iPhone 14 came out. And because you've stopped paying attention to the features of your iPhone 11, you've started to take the iPhone 11 for granted. You become complacent about it. The iPhone 14, because there's hype, it's new.
It's new.
You say, oh, this iPhone 11. Suddenly you see all its faults.
Yeah.
It's slow. You didn't know it was slow before.
Yeah.
The camera is not that good. You were fine with the camera before. Right? It doesn't do these things. You were using it fine. But this new thing. So now you devalue the iPhone 11. You're ready to pay more
For iPhone 14.
For the iPhone 14 that barely does anything different. The scary thing is,
I'm just admiring the coffee and the
I
cup.
don't even care about what I'm saying anymore.
No, please do, please.
The scary thing is that iPhone 14 is going to become old again.
True.
Right? So what I'm saying is, we stop looking at the features, the great things about our partners. We've been distracted by the newness that looks exciting just because it's new. We leave that thing that was the new thing initially.
True.
Go for the new thing, only for the new thing to become old again.
Yeah.
And then that's how we see people going from relationship to relationship to relationship, because they don't know that actually you're supposed to fortify.
Yeah, 45. Yeah, 45.
Pour into service.
Yeah.
Keep reminding yourself of,
you need to nurture that one you
but
have.
also remind yourself of the features, because that's what gets you excited. What was it that made me fall in love? Oh my God, I love this thing about my husband. I love that. I remember why I fell in love, and keeping that part alive, right?
You know why this is so important? Because even prior to marriage, even in relationships, I think this also affects people. You're in a relationship with somebody, it's getting a little bit, at that point where it's just
plateauing.
Yeah. And then you meet another person and it gets exciting. And then you think, okay, this is better. And before you know anything, you're moving from this to that, to this, to that. And I mean, time is going.
Yeah.
Where you would have probably built something with.
It's a level of immaturity, because a mature person knows that whatever they give their focus on.
True. Will expand.
Expands,
True.
improves.
True.
Whatever they're grateful
True.
for expands, improves.
Yeah.
Whatever they keep servicing.
Will keep
right?
on, yeah.
Here's the thing, intimacy, deep intimacy, I say it's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
Right? It gets better with time.
Yeah, I always say this. When someone will probably tell me something like, oh, okay, the marriage is getting bad or going worse or whatever it is. But for me, I think with every year it gets better.
It's
better. Which is what it should really be. It should get better with every year.
Right? But if you're not protecting it.
Yeah, and you're not working on it, you're not serving it, you're not nurturing it, you're not being deliberate about it, then obviously cracks will happen.
And like I'm saying, those cracks will appear when you are creating, overstepping boundaries with somebody else, overstepping emotional boundaries with somebody else, and not being intentional about maintaining that connection, the building of the relationship through spending time, through giving you the best version of you to your marriage. Of course you're going to end up, sometimes for women, I find a lot of women end up in emotional affairs because they're hearing words from a man that they've not heard from their husband for a long time.
Oh.
They're getting attention from a man. They're being seen.
So I think men need to realize that this is because, sometimes men...
Because a lot of men will just marry a wife and be like, when they're
buy
dating...
a car, do all those things and just think that's it.
She's fine. Whereas a woman needs to feel that...
valued.
I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Right? She still needs to feel attractive, desired. Like a girlfriend almost, right?
Yeah.
Wanted. Like, I'm your priority. I'm your world.
True.
She needs to feel that.
True.
And when you starve her of that, I can't teach deeply on this, the fact that women are emotions. When you starve her of that emotional connectivity, you literally leave her wide open. And then all it takes is for her to not be aware of that she's wide open and allow somebody else to overstep the boundary in terms of giving her certain words, attention, compliment. And it's little things where she's made an effort, hubby hasn't noticed. The guy notices straight away, you look amazing today. That's enough. It just hits her in a certain way. Now she craves that. And when she craves it, she knows she can't come to you for it because you never offer it to her. So where does she run to? That guy on the DM that always makes her feel good. And remember that relationships are built on how you make a person feel. So when I'm with hubby or when I'm with wifey and I feel unseen, devalued, unappreciated, But when I'm with this other person, I feel alive.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the best woman in the world. I feel like the best guy in the world. I'm naturally going to gravitate
Towards
there.
that.
I'm not strong enough.
Child doesn't want to avoid this whole thing. This mix up.
It's not a mix-up, oh. It's not a mix-up.
It's a mix Because I mean, if you're not conscious, you get yourself into stuff like this.
Well, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Consciousness.
Yes.
It's the things that we treasure, we protect.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing is within the couple, let's have some boundaries. Let's have some operational rules here. Right? What's okay for us in terms of interacting with the opposite sex without it being overly controlling, because people still have to live. Of course, we can, like I said before, we can have friends and healthy relationships.
What's fine?
What does unhealthy look to us though?
Yeah.
What would be too much? Okay. And let's set that between us and agree it, right? And then there's your own personal boundary. Okay, so between us, my husband and I have this thing where we say, protect my heart, right? So it's where if I'm interacting with another man, I'm always thinking about my husband's heart. What level of interaction do I know would impact his heart if he was here?
True.
So whether he's here or not, I'm still going to protect his heart. One. Number two, I'm letting you know from the get-go, whether verbally, physically, body language, or a slap in your face, I'm a married woman, right? So how we interact, I can be friendly with you, I'm going to smile with you, but you're definitely going to know.
That respect has to be there,
Right. Don't feel that you can disrespect my husband through me. That is a no. Okay. But that's in the energy, like you give
you
that
have
perception.
to be deliberate about, putting out that.
Right?
Sometimes some people don't put that.
Right? And then you have to be aware of your own gaps within yourself. Like, am I feeling lonely?
True.
Am I feeling emotionally void? So before that goes too far,
you need to talk
let
to
me
your
go
husband.
and communicate with my partner. Right?
Yeah.
And then lastly, have common sense about your interactions. So people just sort of slide in your DMs. You cut it off straight away. And like I said before, maybe late nights, maybe not talking about something. I'm not going to come and talk to you about my marriage, right? I'm not going to, and if you're coming to me and saying, oh, I've got things to share, stuff going on in my life and blah, 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 I'm going to be like, okay, great, we can talk about this, but there has to be a boundary. And I also say, let my friends be his friends and his friends be my friends. Even if you guys don't become the best of mates. Right? We're all going to know each other.
Because that brings some level of respect.
Right.
The friends will also respect the spouse, things like that.
So, and I think I said it in one of the other episodes, making sure, I said that my husband, I remember him making a deliberate decision, you are my best friend, right? So making sure that we're always placing each other right at the top.
At the top, true.
I don't care who you are, right at the top of our priority list. So there are just some ideas of what you can do to protect yourself from. Because here's the thing about emotional affairs. They rarely start just like that. Sexual affairs can happen like that.
Exactly.
Emotional affairs, that's why they're so deep. And the strongest connection you can have with someone is an emotional connection.
True.
They're strong.
True.
They start over time, really slowly and subtly. Right? So you've got to keep your eyes open. And I think that if you're looking for an indicator of when you're in and when it's time to cut it, is the moment you feel like, I better delete this.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. Stop that. Stop the communication. If you have to stop the friendship, if you stop.
True.
Because it's gone too far. But that first moment, that first moment you pick up the phone and you see it ringing and you think, I better go to the toilet. Cut it, you've gone. Right?
So how about situations where you probably feel the message is not, there's nothing wrong with it, but then for some reason maybe your spouse sees it and finds it not okay?
Yeah. You have to go with, because here's the thing, your partner is going to pick up that you're heading in the wrong direction before you're aware of it.
True. And I just feel that there has to be that respect. If
Yeah.
your partner sees something like that and raises it up to you, you don't push it aside.
No.
You have to, just like you said, protecting their hearts. You have to recognize that this person is probably is not telling you that you're cheating or whatever, but it's calling your attention that there's something here. There's something here. You need to watch it here.
And let me talk from a woman's point of view, because I feel like men need to know this. And for the women that are watching
tell my
this,
brothers. Tell me and my brothers.
Right. You guys can comment and say, put in whether I'm telling the truth. Women are sneaky. Women can be sneaky. We are queens of emotions. Of course we are. We know how to very, very subtly.
So we need to be careful.
Be easing our way in. So particularly when your wife is saying, hubs, this girl, she's moving on you. And you're like, we're just friends. We're just friends. She will see it.
So how about the guy who thinks like, okay, I got this in check. Don't worry, babe.
You have not got it in check.
Please.
You do not have it in check.
In check.
If it was in check, we wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
She wouldn't even feel like she could communicate with you. She wouldn't feel like she could message you at 11 o'clock at night.
Now, supposing this is a colleague, working colleague or something like that.
There still has to be boundaries.
Okay. So you have to be deliberate about speaking to the person.
Even more so with your working colleagues. Because think about it. Okay, let's say, it's a man and a woman working closely together. Think about the things that build emotional bonds in your marriage. Sharing our dreams together.
Yeah.
Sharing goals. Listen, this is the goal we're going to make. We're going to hit this together. Go.
Even talking about challenges we face together.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, this was hard for me. Help me out with this. Show me how to do it. Getting close. Oh, and now I know your weaknesses. I'll cover your weakness. You cover mine.
I'm trying to sort this out and the person is helping. Oh, don't worry. I'll call somebody who will help you to do this and all that kind of thing. And continuously, this is now the person you're relying on for help and all that. I think that over time, if they're, just like you said, they just have to be an understanding. It's not... there has to be an understanding of the boundaries, basically.
And the other thing that I say is make sure that your friend, colleague, whoever this person is so aware of your partner.
Yes.
Because what I find is like, it's like, me and my friend,
you put your partner aside. So that's a problem.
Right.
That's one of the things that's why some of the things I say about even prior to marriage is the fact that marry somebody you are proud of. Marry somebody that you value. Marry somebody you want to always talk about. Marry someone you want to show to others.
The thing is with that though, Victor, is what we said before. The newness will allow you to do that. This new relationship that you're in, that you want to get, you're saying, oh my God, I'm proud of this. I want to show her off. Of course you do. It's a newness. You're in the newness. You're in that sort of euphoric stage of your relationship. At some point, the natural euphoria goes. And then you're left on intentional euphoria. That's where couples lose it.
I'm thinking wisdom has to like...
I need some more coffee as well. I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely need some. So when we're in that first newness, right, relationship, and then we get married, there is a natural euphoria with it. Eventually, quite quickly actually, the natural one dies, right? And then it's about the couple then who keep it up through intentionality. So you could say, well, I've married someone that I'm proud, because I see this all the time. 5 years later, like they're barely talking to each other. Or like they feel like they're in separate worlds. Like, oh, that's him and his people and her friends and this me and But what happened to that? Oh my God, showing off, proud of. They weren't intentional.
And I think sometimes the reasons for picking the spouse, people could pick spouse for, that might not even be a major reason. The fact that, okay, the fact that I'm just happy about seeing this person. I want to show people this person. I love this person. I respect this person and all. I don't think, most times, it might not be a top priority most times. It might just be a thing of, okay, I found the person who I feel will give me the kind of children I want, will take care of my children and all that kind of thing. And they don't even want to, from the get-go, this is not somebody I want. I don't even want to be going out with this person.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing is setting yourself up for unhappiness.
Exactly.
Unhappiness.
Because even if you're cool with that, so how about the other person? Because the other person would obviously be lonely, and then issues start coming up.
Right.
Yeah, just like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think this is a good stepping stone to the next episode, which we'll be talking about.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was just thinking that. So I was thinking, because we're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Let's not, because definitely.
Yeah.
So the next episode is about how to fortify
your marriage relationship through creating shared meanings together.
Yeah, and it's such, actually, when you first sort of mentioned it, I was a bit like, what? But now, as we're talking, it's massive, absolutely huge.
It's a big deal.
I definitely want us to save that for the next episode. But I think for this one, I'm hoping.
Because you
first of all, do you feel like you've got a better insight?
You deconstructed this. I think you did. I'm sure anybody watching would really understand it in all ramifications. That's the way I see it, because you were able to talk about it from, something very important. Even if I were to say something like, so how do you avoid it or know where to cut it up? You still talked about the fact of, at the point where you see that this is a message you want to delete and all, that should send an alert to you that
big alert. I didn't say alert
not
like
cool.
you.
Yeah, alert.
Yeah.
Alert. So
all right.
That's a responsible way to deal with it. Once you know that it's gotten to this point, then why not? You have to start reevaluating it. You have to be deliberate about it in trying to ensure that whatever this is, it has to.
I want to just give another just that one red flag. I think I just mentioned it real quick before, but just to make sure that you've got it. Sexual tension. That thing where it's like, I want to sit next to him, or your knees just touch and it's like sparks. Too far. Be careful. Back away. It's happening. It's happening.
Okay, so
everyone go home and reevaluate your friendship.
True.
Your work colleagues.
Yeah. Very important.
Wow.
Now this you have gone neck deep. Your whole body is in it. Now somebody will say something like, you need prayers at this point.
Is that prayers that's going to do it for you, bro?
So that's
or
why
sis?
So that's why we said something prior, way back. I think at the second episode, you have to be, marriage is really for matured adults.
Serious business for serious people.
Yeah, not serious business, but
I'm just going to say it every time.
Of course.
Right.
And when I say matured adults, is taking responsibilities of cause and effects. You have to think about cause and effect. You have to always sit back and explore this action. What are the effects?
Right.
You understand? You might not be perfect, but you have to be responsible. And when you find yourself going into certain things, you need to start creating avenues to get out of it. You need to be, because no matter what you want to say, pray, whatever, if you don't take certain actions, it won't work.
And here's the thing. It's never going to end up well.
It's not going to end up well. I think that is a very important thing to know.
Yeah, it's never going to end up well.
It's not, yeah.
So I work with couples in affair recovery. I specialize in that. And what I find is that a lot of people quite early in their affair want to get out.
True.
They want to get out.
Okay.
But now they stay in it because there's no way back. There's no way forward. It's like, what happened? And they're waiting. They're looking for something to happen that will allow them to just ease themselves out. Well, so now something that was meant to be like a 1 week blip has turned into months, has turned into a year, has turned into 3 years, because you're like, I just want to I can't crush this one now because it could blow up. I can't just go and tell my partner because it would blow up. I've just created.
Now this one is not even neck deep. This is like nose deep now.
You're in, Okay. So if you're in and you're enjoying it, number one, just know that something is about to explode. And it will explode majorly. Number two, everything that is in the darkness will come out. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
One day your partner is going to find out.
True.
For
True.
sure. It
True.
always happens.
True. True.
Right? Number 3, at some point, that euphoria, that excitement, that newness will die. And then you're left in the same position with a marriage that you've destroyed and a rubbish relationship.
Marriage you've destroyed.
Right?
That's the thing. Being very responsible about what marriage really is. So I think we've dissected this as much as possible, brought other things, dissected extra.
Right.
So I think we've hit this one.
Right.
Well done, Adaeze.
Thank you.
The psychology of marriage success.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to you too.
Okay.
You've been listening to Adaeze Chiwoko from Marriage for Real and
Victor Onochie, Genius Metaphor.
This was episode 4, season 1 of the psychology of marriage success.
Good. You're getting it. You're getting it.
Okay there.
Yeah.
And our next episode, which we said before, is
fortifying your marriage relationships by creating shared meaning.
This episode was brought to you in partnership with Zuma Coffee, which we drank way too quickly.
Yeah.
And I need another one.
You know, I love the new pack of Zuma Coffee.
It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, I think
it actually feels nice. That's the thing.
Tastes really good.
You can follow me on Marriage Number 4 Real on Instagram, TikTok, and Adaeze Chiwoko on YouTube.
Okay. Victor Onochie.
Everywhere. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you get a notification of our next episode. Follow us right here on YouTube, The Psychology of Marriage Success, and you can catch this podcast on Spotify.
Okay.
The Psychology of Marriage Success. See you in the next episode.